When you say it like that, oh, got me falling right back.
What's up, everybody? This is a 53 Ford frame that we're working with. I'm going to be airbagging it. I just wanted to give you a quick look at pretty much where we're starting at. Did a lot of scraping, cleaning, and sandblasting, some grinding, the wire wheel, just kind of get where we're at. This thing was pretty caked up with grease. You can still see a lot of it in there. I chose to took the body off. You know, you guys, if you don't have that option, you know, leave the body on. You can still do it. It's much easier this way, but this is how I chose to do it. I got some marks on there already, kind of where I'm going to be putting things. Got center lines marked, some template or a template cut out. It's real important before you guys start tearing things apart to get measurements of where you're at, and that way you know kind of a basis to go off of. You know, that way your wheelbase is still centered in the wheel wells. You know, everything's kind of good as far as that goes. Found out that whoever welded this up, you know, got a little crazy on the heat with the stick welder, I guess, from the factory. But you know, that's a minor thing to be fixing. But yeah, I definitely got some work to do. I'll be putting a different rear end in it. Like I said, I'm going to build my own 2-link system back here and everything. So that'll all be in this episode, because I'm going to try to do this episode as far as just building the frame, getting it ready for everything that we got to do before we put the body back on. That way I don't have to do it once it's there. You know, we'll be mounting the motor and tranny, you know, all that stuff in here prior to putting the body back on. That way I know everything's going to be sitting where it's supposed to be, and then we'll keep going. So I'm going to shut up and watch the video. Okay, I just wanted to, I'm sure you guys know this already, but basically, you know, here's some tools that you're going to need. Definitely going to need some cardboard. As you can see, I kind of have it set up, just taped on there. You know, if you go down, you can see that they're pretty much you know, even as you go across. And then I'll have another piece that, you know, kind of goes on top. And then, you know, that'll box it in. You cut the top of those first, and then you start tacking these on, and then you'll go through and cut that section out. I'll show you later on. I just wanted to show you where I was. And then so what I went ahead and did is, you know, I have a body mount bolt here and here, and I went ahead and inside the trunk I wanted an idea where I was going to be at, so I went ahead and measured from the body bolt to the other one, and got an idea of where I was, because I wanted to make sure I missed that seat bracket that's right there and everything. So now I'll know, you know, where I'm going to be at as far as, you know, where the axle is going to be, how high I need to make a tunnel for right here, and then eventually I'll have to cut another tunnel for the drive line that goes through there. So back to work. All right, I got my cardboard templates, and I just pretty much traced out onto the metal from the templates. And you got to remember, these are super rough cutouts. You're definitely going to have to fine tune these. I'm going to be using a plasma cutter. You know, I used to use cutoff wheels for a long time, but finally upgraded. Super happy. It saves a lot of time and disc cutting these out, especially with the thicker metal. Just keep in mind, like I said, these are rough cutouts. They're definitely going to need to be trimmed up once you get them on there and fitting good. So here we go. make them match, get all the slag off. It's real important when you're plasma cutting to take these edges off right here, because it doesn't really want to weld very good. So all right, let's keep going.
Clap your hands, Radio Land. Yeah. Nails in your coffin, flowers on your grave, and your soul can't be fed. Ain't a thing you can do. Got my evil eye on you. Evil eye on you. My evil eye on you. Yeah. Whoa, ho, ho, ho. Wee, hee, 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 hee. How, 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 how.
So now that you got them cut out, pretty much with the help of a little YouTube magic and a whole lot of grinding, this is pretty much what you want them to look like. See how the edges are all cleaned up? I mean, it's a little bit, but it's way better than from the cutter. And definitely got to get that grinded off to be able to weld to this edge. But that's kind of what you're looking for. And then you know, you want them to match up pretty good, because you know, when you go to put that cap on, it's gonna you know, want to sit flat. You don't want it sitting crooked. So when you get those, make sure to line everything up. I used some clamps and clamped them down, and then just started cleaning everything up. All right, I just wanted to show you, once you get it all there, you can see where I kind of have it marked. I dropped a plumb bob down and marked the center of the axle and got these all lined up. And then sometimes, you know, you'll, depending on your cutout, how good you are at it, you might have to end up trimming a little bit. Get that to sit right there. So, you know, it's not perfect, but see, I'm gonna end up having to trim a little bit. So, you know, you'll have to trim a little bit, but you want to make sure that you leave a good sized gap, because you're going to want to fill that all with weld and everything to make sure you get good penetration. Because if you want to grind it off a little bit to clean it up, you don't want to cut into that weld. So okay, so some of you might know this, some of you might not, but when you're installing an air ride system, first things first, you got to figure out how low you want to go. On this case, with my car, I'm wanting the frame to pretty much sit on the ground. So roughly, I got to go about 13 inches from the ground to the bottom of the frame. Now I'm going to be running a little bit taller tire, but then you come over here, and from the top of the axle, you know, you can see where 13 inches comes. So you don't always want to run them right there. That's why sometimes you'll see some people have just like what, you know, a half notch or whatever. That's what, this is a step notch. So that's what I'm going with. But you want the space so that way you're not hitting right here on the, every time your axle comes up. So you want a little bit of space so that way you can put a bump stop or something like that when you're installing these. Now, if you look, you can see the red lines here. I'm going to go ahead and cut these on the top before I put these step notches on, because once they're welded on, you know, it's going to be a little hard to get to. So I'll have just that cut on the top here, and then when these are both sides are welded on, I'll go through and take a Sawzall and cut the bottom on these yellow lines here. So just a little something when you're installing these step notches. Okay, so I got everything cleaned up, clamped into place. As you can see, I got my little relief cuts. Saves you a little bit of headache when you're going for everything. Once you get it, you know, tacked, I like to actually, you know, I'll tack here, you know, pretty good, and then I'll probably run like a 1-inch bead on, you know, just right here on the inside. You don't want to put too much heat too fast. But once you get that tacked into place, get your cap piece on and that tacked in, and make sure, you know, that you're leaving a little bit, I don't know if you can see that right there, kind of a gap on both sides there, so that way the weld will fill into that. So if you do any finish grinding or anything like that, you're not cutting into your weld and causing a weak point. Then I'll go ahead and cut this piece out, and then once that's out, you'll make another box plate that'll go up in there, and then weld that in, and then you'll be done, at least with this side. And there you have it. Now you just got to cap this, finish your welds, and repeat on the other side.